Welcome back to my no-name channel, and I'm Bruce, and this is another Bali COVID-19 update for March 16th, 2021, and I hope you had a peaceful and quiet Nyepi, unless you were one of the 1,000 that fled to the gillies, in which case you had a loud partying time. So, let's get started. Got a lot of stuff today, and in case you didn't see it, I have a new hand video yesterday of a road trip I took last week with my son and son-in-law. Okay, numbers. Good news on the numbers. 100 for yesterday gives us 37,000 total positive cases, 34,311 recoveries, 1,025 deaths, and so we've reached the 1,000 mark. We've gone past the 1,000 mark in deaths, unfortunately. Good news, 1,664 active cases, so that is going down. So numbers continue to look good, going down. For the regencies, Badung 28, Denpasar 16, Jembrana 14, Klungkung 11, Buleleng 8, Karangasem 8, Gianyar 7, Bangli 4, and Tabanan 3. So good news, with the exception of the hitting the 1,000 death mark. Good news on decreasing numbers. Does this mean we're going to open tomorrow? No, and I'll get to that in a little while. Okay, what about the vaccinations and the vaccines? Well, first, you've probably heard about the AstraZeneca problems with some blood clots, and a number of European countries putting AstraZeneca on hold until they can figure out what's going on. And Indonesia has also stopped the rollout of the 1.1 million doses of AstraZeneca that they have, and they're waiting for some word on what's happening with AstraZeneca. And vaccinations continue to go on, so we're in phase 2, and public servants are being vaccinated all over the island now, and seniors are being vaccinated in some of the regencies, not all yet, but some. So vaccination process is ongoing, and that's good news. And no reports yet that I've seen of any serious complications. So, great. And on the vaccine issue, foreigners, we're still not on a list yet. We're not officially on a list. Some people with ketops have gotten vaccinated, and some people with ketoses have tried, and some have gotten it, and some haven't gotten it. I don't know. Personally, I'm waiting until somebody tells me, okay, you can go get vaccinated. I am definitely not an anti-vaxxer, but I'm just going to wait, take my turn, and see what happens. President Jokowi is in Ubud today. He may be gone by now. This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesday, and so he flew in and went to Ubud to witness mass vaccination of 500, I think, 650 participants. This is part of a program to make Ubud into a COVID-0 area, and Ubud is one of the areas that has been designated as a green zone. And the green zone, you have Nusa Dua and Ubud, and I think Sanur, and then there was somebody said, a government official or somebody from the hotel association said, what are you going to do if you've got these separate places? How are they going to go from one place to the other? We should really have the whole island be a green zone, or spread out green zones, some in the north, some in the east, some in the west. Makes more sense, but it's going to take a little more time. And so President Jokowi is here, and so there's residents from 13 banjars, and the vaccinations are going to be carried out in the Royal Palace in Ubud. If you were there, you probably noticed a lot of security officials around because of the president being there. And so, good news. The fact that the president is here shows the federal government's commitment, the national government's commitment to getting Bali back into business as soon as possible. And so, good news there. And what about how are the people doing with the following health protocols, health and safety protocols, and especially the mask? Well, next story. Thousands have been caught violating the health protocols, and the authorities in Badung Regency said they've caught over 2,200 people violating health protocols in the last 2 months, and this includes more than 300 foreigners. So, I Gusti Agung Ketut Surya Negara, head of the Public Order Agency, that's Satpol PP, in Badung, said the number is going down, although foreigners still make up the majority. Now, this is something, you know, I have not had a problem with criticizing foreigners who don't wear masks, but I'm looking at these numbers and I'm just not sure where the majority is here. So, he says, quote, foreign nationals are still dominant among the mask rule violators because they do not believe there is COVID-19. And according to the mask use, is only for those who are infected or sick. Okay, and so then he explains that there's a total of 2,240 people that were caught violating health protocols between January 11th and March 6th. And this includes people who did not wear a mask properly or did not follow any of the other health protocols. And out of this group, 411 had to pay a fine, and out of the 411, 367 were foreigners. Okay, so who's paying the fine? Overwhelmingly foreigners, definitely. Okay, while the others were either given social sanctions, guidance, or a written warning. So if there's 367 foreigners who paid a fine and there was 2,240 people apprehended, how does that get to be the majority? I'm not sure. He continued that the majority of the foreigners were Russian citizens. Here we are with the Russians again. We're Russian citizens who've been living on the island for a year or so, many of whom have businesses or are married to locals, he said. So it seems to me from these numbers that the majority are actually Indonesians, but the foreigners have been easy to spot, right? Especially during these times when we don't have mass tourism, and so they're easy to spot. And let's be honest, you know, they ride around without shirts on, without a helmet on, and no mask. Easy to spot these guys and women. And so this has been going on since the start of the mandate period for the mask. And so there's the question, are foreigners getting a bad rap here? Is their reputation deserved? Or is this purely in one locality? Now, it noted in the article that most of these things were, this is in Badung Regency in North Kuta, and so you have the folks around the Canggu area. So what about foreigners that are in other places? Ahmed, Lovina, Ubud. Okay, I know that there have been complaints about people in Ubud too, but well, foreigners are definitely not blameless, but locals are also involved in this not following protocols. So, well, let's look at another article on foreigners. So, foreigners defying health protocols in Bali face 1 million rupiah fine, possible deportation. So I talked about this last time, but this was a suggestion. It wasn't yet officially decided. So it has now been officially decided that 1 million rupees if caught without a mask the first time, and deportation for the second offense. This officially came into effect on March 4th, although the governor only announced it on March 9th publicly. As noted many times, as I've noted many times, the government complains that the majority of violators are foreigners, and like I just said, there's some question about what the majority actually means. Governor Costa said the central government has urged, so central government Jakarta, has urged its administration to implement stricter sanctions for those who disobey health protocols. And so the fine for Indonesians remains at 100,000 rupees, which has led to some whining by foreigners for being discriminated against, although they have the choice to obey the law and wear a mask. So you're not going to get fined 1 million rupees if you just wear the mask. Just wear the damn mask. Is this unfair? The idea here is that foreigners are going, hey, 100,000 rupees. What is that? Yesterday's exchange rate, about $7 US. Who cares? Okay. Or they don't pay it. They get into arguments, and so you get this whole negative vibe going on here. So the idea is they want to make this hurt. So if you charge 1 million rupees, people are a little more likely to be to go along with the program. And I have no problem with that, personally. If you're here on the island already, I'm sure you've heard about this. Maybe you haven't. You live in the Canggu bubble. Maybe you haven't heard that. But that seems to be the reality. Is this going to be enforced? I don't know. I haven't seen any news where somebody has gotten fined 1 million rupees yet, or where somebody has gone a second time and has been deported. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Okay. Okay, so let's get to the big question. The big question is always the same. This is on social media all the time. When is Bali going to open? Well, somebody stirred the pot up the other day. This was the Minister of Health. The Minister of Health, Budi Gunadi Sadikin, said that Bali cannot open in 2021. He said the government's prepared a program to prepare for opening Bali in April 2022. Yes, 2022, a year away still. Quote, "We've just conducted a pilot project in Ubud and 2 other locations to prepare Bali to become a tourist destination." He said this in an interview at a restaurant in Ubud. He listed April 2022 as the most appropriate time to open Bali to international tourism because the Ministry of Health wants Bali to gain international trust in how they're handling COVID-19. He noted that he realized that the Balinese people wanted to open as soon as possible, but the government wants it to be open quickly, but also make it good for the community here and the international community. The preparation should be prepared carefully and should involve international institutions like the WHO and UNICEF. And he concluded that he met with the Balinese governor for coordinating related to the preparation for opening, so that Bali can be the healthiest tourist destination free of COVID-19. Now, you can imagine how well this has gone over with people in Bali. And so next story, Bali Tourism Association. Well, the headline in one of the sources, Bali Tourism Association blasts health minister plan to reopen border in 2022. And so the head of the Regional Association of Indonesian Tours and Travel Agencies, I Putu Wanastra, said that the 2022 plan, as put forward by the health minister, will deepen the economic crisis in Bali. And he argued that the health minister's program. It's just a proposed, it's just a scheme. And just a request, and the other ministers, notably the Minister of Tourism, do not necessarily agree with that and have other ideas. And of course, people in Bali have way different ideas. He explained that the majority of businesses in Bali have closed, and business owners and workers have no source of income. Now, if you see the video that I talked about at the start, where we go through Padang Bai, boy, it was just empty, really depressing. I talked to a couple of business owners there, and they said it's terrible, and we were only there for 24 hours. But we were out at night on a Saturday night, and there was one restaurant open on the main strip where we were. Just we saw a couple of people, foreigners, at the restaurant who live there. Well, I take it they live there from the conversation that they were having. So he's urged the government to open a travel bubble with selected countries when most of the people in Bali are vaccinated. And so this is one big part of it. How quickly can we get to 70%, which is, as I mentioned before, the number that everybody in the world just floats around is herd immunity. How long is it going to take us to get to 70%? I don't know. It depends. It depends on a lot of factors. But it's not going to happen. Not going to happen tomorrow. He claimed. Pak Winastra claims that the vaccination program for tourism workers is expected to finish in April 2021, so next month, so that the central government considering reopening the border in the near future, and that international visitors will feel comfortable with the progress that we're making with the vaccine rollout, and that locals can continue practicing the 3 M's, and that green zones need to be established around Bali, as I mentioned just a minute ago, not just in Nusa Dua, Ubud, and Sanur. And so he wants to open up, and that's understandable. Are they going to be done vaccinating all the people in the tourism industry by next month? I don't know, and even if they do, that reach 70%, there's all these other people. And what about how are people behaving in terms of following protocols? Well, as I said in this video I talked about before, once you get out into the villages, a lot of people don't wear masks. Even in Padang Bai, some people were wearing them, some weren't on the main road. Yeah, here, I just came back today, a little while ago, from a walk with Zoe, and we saw a few more people not wearing masks today. So in the past, I've said 100% in Singaraja. Today it was maybe 99%. I saw 4 or 5 people not wearing masks at all, and then of course you have the mask here, and the mask here, and the mask here. Let's be clear, this is not just foreigners, this is Indonesians as well. People are tired of this, and so they're getting sloppy and lazy. The numbers are going down, and what happens? That's a natural response to this. Okay, things are getting better, we can relax. We're not at zero, we're far from being at zero still. Yeah, we just have to wait and see what the government's going to do here. I checked this morning again, and still offshore visas are not being issued. And people that say that we're going to open up in next month, and that includes the head of the travel association. We're not opening in April. Who knows where we're going to open? It's still an unknown. If you want to figure it out, I know a good fortune teller in Seoul. You could go and ask her. Maybe she can tell you. So if you're not here and you want to get here, hang tight. It's not happening right now. Keep an eye on the immigration Instagram, Facebook, website, all those sources. Keep a watch on that. Watch Jackie Pomeroy's COVID-19 updates and the law and immigration issues website, the Facebook site, and you'll have the most recent information in those places. Information that's based on fact, not on rumors or, I think. We all have opinions. I don't know. We'll see. So, that's it for today. I hope you're well. Weather's pretty good today. It's nice, and we had a nice relaxing Nyepi. And this is mid-March. Hopefully the rainy season is about to end. Okay, so if you're here, follow the health protocols, wear a mask, be kind to someone today. Thanks for viewing. See you next time.